my name is Jen Hageman, and I am the designer behind the designs of Gen X Equine. And today we're talking about the Xtreme Performance, or XP, Endurance line. The XP Endurance comes in two models. We have the Stubby, which I designed for minimalist saddles, racing saddles that are so popular today. And we have the regular style Endurance that fits most endurance saddles on the market right now. So the concept, and behind the designs we go over the concept, the material, the construction, and the why. So we're going to start with the concept. The concept of the XP Endurance line was to expound upon my body of work, to build the next generation. So for those of you that don't know, I was a contract designer for many years for other companies, and if you see a familiarity in the lines and in the way they look between Fleeceworks or Matrix and the Coolback T3s, etc., there's a reason, because they're all designed by the same person, me. And I don't like, as a designer, it's just my rule of thumb, that I never put out a line until I make it significantly better. I don't like lateral movement. I don't see a point in it. So in this line, the concept was to draw upon this large body of knowledge that I've been working on for many years and make it lighter, have way more shock absorption, make it more breathable, and make it more user-friendly, meaning washer, dryer, fungus, bacterial resistant, etc. So the way we accomplished that was the materials in the construction. The ETC is the top fabric. ETC is an anti-friction fabric, so it stops heat right where it starts. It's a brilliant material, and I use it a lot in my lines for that very reason, to negate heat. It's also, being anti-friction, it grips the bottom of your saddle for when you're going up and down hills. It's going to help keep everything in place and from moving around. Now we'll take the ETC, and you can see how light this stuff is. It's like a membrane. So it's so breathable as well. We'll take that and we'll mount that to a 10-ounce breather core. Now this 10-ounce breather core is the only time we use the 10-ounce in any of my lines. We typically use an 18-ounce breather core, and the reason I went with a 10-ounce breather core was because it still moves 480 degrees Fahrenheit, but weighs less. Anytime I can get every ounce, cut an ounce out of an endurance line, I will. I'll sit and mess around with a 1/4 inch for a while, trying to lessen the weight of those materials. So hence why we go with the 10-ounce in this particular line. And we'll take those and we will stitch it to the fleece. The fleece is a 20 micron density and a 30mm clip. And in endurance, this fleece is a particularly important material in the concept of the design. So when you're riding so many hours, the back changes shape as you're going up and down, and it is engorging with blood as you're using those muscles, and of course you stop, and the P&Rs and the vets and etc. Everything's flexing, almost like a decreasing and engorging again. So this fleece is so vital to allow for the outward expansion and engorgement in blood of your horse's back as you're riding. It also distributes pressure and controls the moisture and dispels the heat. So this is an incredibly important feature of this line, this particular material. So here is a regular endurance. You'll see the ETC fabric. We have it mounted to the 10-ounce breather core. We have the 7 1/4 ounce cotton poly twill, and there's another unique feature of this line, which is we use a 90 Tech marine grade thread. The marine grade thread has a coating that's used in the marine industry for sailing and etc. And so it has a coating on it that's impervious to salt water. Why I did that was because we had tremendous amount of thread rot in endurance pads, particularly because of all the sweat and the water that we're pouring over our horses as we go along. So I wanted a material that was going to hold up to that type of use. We use I guess you can see it better on this one. We use a 1-inch, fairly standard poly webbing. Why? Because it's strongest. So nothing fancy there. We have our bull hide on the stubby. Why do I do this? So it's probably not what you're thinking. When I first designed this for the minimalist saddles, the racing saddles, I noticed, what I was noticing was a lot of swaying in the rider's leg, due to fatigue. So this is not actually to protect the bottom of the pad from the rigging or wear. It is to grab the top of your half chop and to help stabilize your leg, less fatiguing, help you keep position over the miles and miles. So the bull hide comes in many different colors, as do the fabric choices of ETC. We have a whole bevy of fabric options, our color options, and we have the black and the brown, and the bull hide also comes in the purple, the red, the turquoise, and the hot pink over there. So these two pads, the stubby and the endurance, are exactly the same size. Lengthwise, it's just the flap size that is shortened, and it's the same XRD insert that goes into both, and you can see how it fits either or. And this is a 15-pound 13 millimeter XRD, and it has the highest impact absorption rating of any human sport. So we'll demonstrate what it does. Here's the insert. This is a 10-pound bowling ball. And one more time. Ready? So now you know what that does, why we use it. It really helps you hold positions, takes the fatigue out of you and your horse over the long miles. So we've gone over concept, materials, construction, and now on to the why. Why do I do this? This line, I view endurance as an extreme sport. I happen to be very passionate about the sport of endurance, and people often ask me, what's the hardest sport, equestrian sport to design for? Eventing is second, endurance is number one. In my opinion, whether you are doing a 25, a 50, a 75, or an FEI 100, it is an extreme sport, no matter what distance. As somebody whose designs have been underneath the United States Endurance Team since 2012, I can tell you honestly, I feel that a pad is a critical and an extremely vital piece of equipment in the sport of endurance, especially for those starting out, because those starting out don't often have the best fitting everything and the best equipment as they're figuring out this sport. And these pads with the shock absorption and the breathability can help tremendously from somebody's first 25, or whether you're competing for your country and everything in between. And it was important for me to, because I love the sport of endurance so much, it is important for me to keep developing and pushing the limits of the technology and the materials that we use for the sport of endurance. And so this is the most technical line I have ever developed, and it has more of everything you've come to expect from one of my designs, but it is either the same price or cheaper. So I think that's it. I think that's now you know the concept, the materials, the construction, and the why behind the design of the Xtreme Performance Endurance by Gen X. Thanks for listening.